السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وله ما روي أنه عليه الصلاة والسلام نهى عن مخابرته وهي المزارعة، ولأنه استئجاره ببعد ما يخرج من عمله فيكون في معنى قفيز الطحام، ولأن الأجر مجهول أو معدوم، وكل ذلك مسلم. ومعاملة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أهل خيبر كان خراج مقاسمة بطريق المن والصلح وهو جائز.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. ونور قلوبنا بمعرفتك واشرح صدورنا من نور كتابك وسنة نبيك، واحفظنا عن زلل وخطأ في بيان مرادك. اللهم يا رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير، بك نستعين يا فتاح يا عليم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So we continue with Kitab al-Muzara'a. As we had mentioned yesterday, Muzara'a is a mufa'ala from the word zara', which means crops. So Muzara'a is where two people come together and they share the income that is derived from any particular crop that they decide upon. One person, in most cases, will be providing the land, and the other person will be doing the labor. So you'll be doing the farming, which includes everything related to that particular crop, and the planting, the preparing of the land, the planting, the irrigation, and then obviously the reaping of the crop as well, harvesting of the crop as well. Imam Abu Hanifa Rahman says this is not as fasid, the bay of fasid, therefore he doesn't allow it, irrespective of what the share might be, irrespective of whether it be for 1/3, 1/4, whatever. And Sahibain say it is permissible, and they draw the proof from Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's deal with the Yahud of Khaybar when they had conquered Khaybar. So that is the dalil for that. And then they also said that we have a similar masala, which is mudaraba. And muzara'a is similar to mudaraba. Mudaraba is where one person provides the money, the cash, the monetary investment, and the other person does the labor upon an agreed venture. So just like how that is allowed with regards to goods of sale, so this should also be allowed. The only difference being that the one is, as I said, goods of sale, and the other one is crops. And the illa is what? Daf'ul haja. There is a need for it. Because sometimes you have a person who's got the money, but doesn't have the skills to farm. And on the other hand, you have a person that has the skills, but doesn't have the money or the land to farm with. So by this kind of mutual cooperation, it is beneficial to them, both of them. That person is able to invest his land in a productive manner, and the other person is able to put his skills to work in order to earn a living for himself and his family. And the larger society also benefits, because the more land, or rather the more land from which we are able to produce food, it's beneficial to the whole country. You understand? Food production obviously is something which is always necessary food security is always necessary in a country, and that creates jobs and so on and so forth. لتافي الحاجة. Now he's mentioning the dalil of Imam Hanif رحمة الله عليه. ولو ما روي أنه عليه الصلاة والسلام نهى عن المخابرة وهي المزارعة. That what is narrated from Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam in Muslim Sharif from Sayyidina Jabir radiallahu anhu, that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam prohibited مخابرة. مخابرة وهي المزارعة. مخابرة and مزارعة is the same thing. مخابرة probably from the word خيبر, and probably from the word خيبر, so from there we get مخابرة. والله أعلم. So anyway, ولأنه, so that's the نقلي. ولأنه استجار ببعض ما يخرج من عمله. If you look at this مزارعة, at the outset is actually istijar. That person is renting his land to the person going to farm. And although the outcome is sharika, the end result is a partnership because they're going to share the profits. But the initial setup, it is almost as if this person is renting his land to the laborer. Okay, so taking that initial that initial stage of this particular partnership, this is likened to كفيس الطحان. What is known as كفيس الطحان? Am I in the right place? Yeah. Okay. كفيس الطحان. Listen. What is كفيس الطحان? كفيس is we did before. It's a weight of measurement of weight, right? A كفيس is a measurement of weight. I don't know exactly in today's times how much that would be, but it's like how we use a kilograms and grams. Coffees used to be the weight, or used to be the scale of weight or the measurement of weight in those days. A coffee, right? Tahan, from the word tahana, which means to grind. So a tahan is a mala, somebody who molds or grinds grains and to make flour or whatever. Okay, so kafisu tahan means, to make it easy for us, a measurement for the mala. Understand? What does this mean? It means, or it refers to where you are paying somebody for a job. You are paying him the fruits of his own labor. You are paying him the product of his own labor. Okay? So what you're telling the mala is that if you mold this, for example, 10 kgs of barley for me, you can take 1 kg as payment. Okay? So you are paying him from the fruits of his labor. You are paying him from the efforts of his own labor. That's not permissible. Or you tell a person that, you slaughtered a sheep for me, and you're slaughtering a sheep at the farm, kurbani, whatever, and you're telling the person you can take the intestines and the skin as your labor, as the payment for your labor. Not permissible. You can't pay a person with the fruits of his own labor. Okay? So this cloth for me is about 5 meters here. I only need 4 meters. You can take the other meter as payment. Understand? Or there's 10 meters here, you can sew another garment for yourself as payment. For you sewing the garment for me. Can't do that. Okay? So here, this resembles that. That you're telling the person, work on the farm, understood? And in lieu of your work, you can get 40% of the crops. Yeah, or you can get 40% of whatever you earn from the crops. So he is being paid from the fruits of his own labor. He is being paid from the efforts of his own labor. Understood? So this coffee, so this matter just became popular as coffee is tahan because that is the example that was given. I think in the hadith, okay, not allowed. So that's the second dalil. Then وَلِأَنَّ الْأَجْرَ مَجْهُولٌ أَوْ مَعْدُومٌ. And thirdly, we can say that either the payment is majhul, unknown, or completely ma'doom, it is absent. Understand? So this goes back to Kitab al-Buyu. You can't agree. There must be whatever you're going to pay to somebody. It must be stipulated exactly what it is that you're paying the person. Number one, and number two, that thing must be in existence. It can't be something which is not in existence, which is non-existent. Okay, like in this case, yeah, the crop isn't there, and you say you're going to pay him the crop. How do you know the crop is even going to come out? And it can be such that the crops fail, or it can be such that it comes out and then there's a locust plague or there's a violent storm, and everything is destroyed. You follow? So at that particular time, it's non-existent. And similarly, we don't know how much of the crop is going to come out. So it's majhul as well, how much he's going to get in the end of the day. Yes, you can say a fraction of it that to some extent specifies, but how much is that fraction going to be in monetary terms? We don't know. It's majhul. Understood? وَكُلُّ ذَلِكَ مُفْسِدٌ. And all of those, either of those is, we don't say majhul, it's ma'doom. Either of those, and all of those leads to the fasad, leads to the spoiling of the transaction, and leads to the transaction becoming nullified. ومعاملة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, now he's answering the hadith of صاحبين. ومعاملة النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام أهل خيبر كان خراجا مقاسمة كان خراج مقاسمة لتريك المن والصبح وهو جائز. He's saying that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam is dealing with the Ahl Khaybar, with the people of Khaybar, the Yahud of Khaybar. This was kharaj. Kharaj is a land tax on non-Muslims. Understand? We got Ushar, and you got Kharaj. So it is a land, we did this in the Usul al-Fiqh, I think. So it's a land tax on the non-Muslim, on any land that has the ability to grow a crop. Understand? So it was Kharaj Muqasama. Uh, Basically, there are three types of Kharaj, or three ways that Kharaj can be done. Understand? Or two types, Kharaj Wazifa, and this is where the Imam he stipulates a particular task upon the people of the land for the year, understand? And he places upon them whatever extent the land, whatever extent the land has capacity to produce, understand? And every year you must produce X amount of crops for us. Okay, so that's called Kharaj Wazifa. That from this particular land, you must produce X amount of crops that must which will belong to us. Okay, and the third is Kharaj Muqasama. That is where they stipulate that between us and you, whatever crop you grow, whatever amount of crops you grow, 1/3 is for us, and you can keep the rest. You follow? So the one type of Kharaj is where the Imam, the Khalifa, the ruler stipulates how much they must grow to be taken as Kharaj. And the other one is where they grow whatever they can, whatever they normally do, and the X amount, a specific fraction, is set aside for the Muslims as Kharaj. You follow? Can you hear me? Assalamu alaikum.
شو شيء كذي
I can hear you. Do you understand that?
شو أنا
Gee. So Imam Sabi is saying this is Kharaj Muqasama. I said this is not Muzara'a. I said because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had conquered the land. And then he's also saying, equality as well, بِطَرِيقِ الْمَنِّ وَالصُّحْ, as a way of doing a favor to them, and as a way of reconciliation. And so he didn't have to do so because he owned it. He didn't have to keep them there. He could have told them to carry on. He could have chased him off the land if he wanted to. And I said, but Nabi Sallallahu did him a favor by allowing him to stay there. Understand? وهو جاهد, and this is permissible. But like I said yesterday, at that time the Muslims were involved in jihad and so forth. They didn't have time for farming. They didn't have time to look after the farm. So it was advantageous to them also to have the people of the land looking after it and then just taking an X amount of crops from this and benefiting it from there financially. That is why later on say, no, well, no, expel them to Sham because there's no need for them. So Islam had expanded very vastly, and it was not as hectic as it was in the time of Sayyidina Abu Bakr, because he had to deal with Ahlul Ridda and so on and so forth. So in the time of Sayyidina Umar was also expansions and so on and so forth. There was no need for them anymore. That's why he could remove them from there. وإذا فسدت عنده فإن سقي الأرض وكريا ولم يخرج شيء فله أجر مثله. فإن سقى الأرض وكريا ولم يخرج شيء فله أجر مثله. So because it is now this is now the, according to Imam, if somebody does enter into such a contract. Now remember I told you bay'ul fasid in a Hanafi madhab, there's a difference between fasid and batil. In a Hanafi madhab, a bay'ul fasid can still be allowed to go through. Okay? They cancel, although it's obviously best to cancel the deal and to get rid of the thing that is causing the fasad. But should they continue unknowingly or whatever, the transaction will still be all right. Okay? But now, because it is fasid, according to Imam Abu Hanifa, invalid or void, if that person irrigates the land, okay, wakaliya, and he harvests the land, okay, he farms the land, kariya, kara means to farm the land. Walam yakhruj, so the kariyun actually refers to, what do you call it when you prepare the land? To toil the earth, okay? You toil the earth. وَلَمْ يَخْرُجْ شَيْءٌ, and nothing was produced. فَلَهُ أَجْرُ مِثْلِهِ, then he is entitled to whatever the going rate is for such a labor. Okay? He's entitled to a wage, whatever the going rate is for a laborer doing such a work. لأنه في معنى إجارة فاسدة. Why? Because this is in the meaning of an ijara fasida. And it's as if you hired the person as a laborer to do a work, and now it became fasid, so he's still entitled. He's not entitled to what he asked for. He's entitled to whatever the going rate is, irrespective of whether it is less or more than what he asked for. Okay?
Okay.
وهذا إذا كان البذر من قبل صاحب الأرض. This is in the case when the seeds have been provided from the landowner. The landowner gave the seeds, and all that person did was work the land, toil the land. Understood? And then in that case, he will be entitled to ajrul mithal, the going rate or the standard rate for such work. However, وَإِنْ كَانَ الْبِذْرُ مِنْ قِبَلِهِ, if the seeds was from his side, the laborer, فَعَلَيْهِ أَجْرُ مِثْلِ الْأَرْضِ, then he has to pay the landowner the rent money, the going rate of renting the land. Because then it is as if he rented the land to plant the seeds, to plant his seeds. It's as if he rented the land from the landowner to plant his seeds. So if the landowner seeds, he will be taken to be like a laborer for the landowner, so he's entitled to that wage. But if If the seeds are coming from the laborer himself, from the person asking for the land, if it's coming from his side, then it is as if he rented the land from the landowner to farm his own crops. You follow? Did you understand it? Can you hear me? Assalamu alaikum, can you hear me?
I understood.
Are you cutting out or what's happening? How come it taking so long to respond?
No, there was some noise behind me, so I just muted my mic.
Okay.
Sure.
والخارج في الوجهين صاحب البذر. And the crops in both instances, irrespective of who produced, the kharij, the produce in both instances, will belong to whoever provided the seeds. If the landowner provided the seeds, then the crops is his. If the laborer provided the seeds, then the crops belong to him because it is his seed. And the seed is the produce is a product of the seed. So therefore, that person is entitled to it. لأنه نماء ملكه, because this is the growth of his ownership. He owns the seed, and the crops is the growth, is what was produced from that which he owns. So therefore, he is entitled to it. It's his belonging. وللآخر الأجر كما فصلنا, and the other will be entitled to the ajr, to either the wage or the rent money, as we have just explained. إلا أن الفتوى على قولهما لحاجة الناس إليها. However, the fatwa in our times is upon صاحبين's opinion, again, لحاجة الناس, because of the great need of the general public. ولظهور تعامل الأمة بها, and also because the ummah in general were engaged in this type of deals. Okay,
Okay.
so we can see from this what that sometimes the urf and when a action or becomes popular, as long as it's not going against any shari any specific shari any law that has already been determined by the Sharia to be impermissible, then that urf can be given preference, and we can use that urf, that common practice, as a means of establishing a law. You follow?
Sure.
Because to try and stop the people now, something which has become common in all countries, how are you going to do that? How are you going to stop people from doing it? It's going to lead to great amount of harm and difficulty. So therefore, urf, according to the Ahnaf, it plays a very key role in many, many masail. Okay?
Sure.
Did you understand that?
Sure.
Okay, we'll stop there, inshallah. Any questions?
So if the call was on Imam Abu Hanifa, then it would have been like ijara. It wouldn't have been called muzarana.
Then it wouldn't have been permissible.
No, I'm saying muzara wouldn't be permissible, but it would have been like ijara. You'll have to give the price for the thing. And then one person will get the crops and one person will get the price.
Yeah, it is ijara according to everybody, like I said, because the initial deal, it has the look of ijara, even though at the end they become partners, sharika. Okay?
Yeah.
But basically, because because this is a shirkatul fasida, understand, or istijara fasida, that's why that would have happened. So you have to give the ujratul mithal and so forth. If any two persons did engage in such a deal, then that would have been the case.
Sure.
ما just forgot one piece, لأن والقياس يترك بالتعامل. A qiyas is set aside in lieu of ta'amul. Because of ta'amul, because of common practice, qiyas can be set aside, overlooked. G. Okay.
كما في الاستعناء. Yes.
Maaf?
استعناء is
Isti'na, where is it?
استثناء. It's right after يترك بالتعامل. Then it says كما في الاستثناء.
Oh, kama fil istisna. Okay, sorry. والقياس يترك بتعامل. Okay, we'll do that tomorrow, inshallah. It's already 5 minutes over, right? Just remind me to start from the والقياس يترك بتعامل كما في الاستثناء. Okay, inshallah.
إن شاء الله.
سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.